Now, what should we do or not do during earthquakes, and how do we keep ourselves safe? Joining us now is the Philippine Red Cross Disaster Management Service Director, Leo Ebahog. Well, good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know you were busy yesterday,
Yes.
sir. So could you tell us, before we go on the do's and don'ts, what does one do, first of all, like in terms of the Red Cross, when something like this happens?
Well, first, we have to activate our volunteers, and that is utilizing the Red Cross 143. These Red Cross 143 volunteers are in most of the communities, so they're the first information that we will receive. So we could easily identify which among the areas is the most affected, and even they will feed us the appropriate route so that we can respond immediately. And aside from that, we also activate our chapter. But we have already a protocol that if this thing will happen, our chapters will immediately also utilize their resources and mobilize their volunteers.
You were saying, as we were watching the pictures here, that those are your men, the ones in red.
Yeah.
What would be your assessment of how it went yesterday in terms of the evacuation and how?
Yeah, definitely we're not there during the effect or the first shaking. But we have our chapter there. So our chapter, Pampanga, was able to mobilize immediately their volunteers and staff to assess the area, and they immediately inform us about the situation. That's why we deploy our rescue team, including our rescue equipment and truck. And from there, we also, based on the assessment, we also provide first aid treatment to those who are injured.
From what happened yesterday, we saw a lot of pictures of people leaving buildings. So that would actually be one of the first steps of what must be done when you encounter an earthquake such as this.
Okay, maybe let us be reminded of what we practiced for several years. I think this is just an eye-opener for all of us to take seriously of all the exercise that is being conducted. Like, for example, what happened yesterday. Most of the people in most of the building, they immediately go out. In fact, you don't do that.
Oh.
You have to wait until the movement stops. And and that's the time that you have to vacate the building. And you have to do it orderly so that there will be a prevention of stampede. And also people will not panic, because assure us, it is like a radiating effect that if you see somebody who is in panic, definitely you will also replicate the same feelings that person has. So, and second, if you go out, make sure that you don't stay to any of the building that has a lot of glass. So that if this glass will be shattered, you will not be hit by any of the fragments.
Okay, so that would be just stay still, stay calm, do the duck hold, and go under
Remember the duck, cover and hold.
Okay.
That's the primary thing that they have to do. We have to do.
Okay, and you also have with us like an emergency bag, but in some situations like yesterday, wala naman kaming emergency bag. Like, so what are the things that we should do if ever we don't have our emergency bag before?
Okay, if you want to vacate your building, instead of putting your hands on your head, look for any object that will prevent or protect your head from any falling debris instead of your hand, because your hand is part of your survival. If you lose, if your hand,
upuan,
yes, anything like cardboard or maybe even laptop, it doesn't matter as long that you will protect yourself. If you don't have a helmet, then make sure that you also have some kind of lighting, like using a flashlight, so that if in case that the power is being shut down or this thing happen nighttime, at least you will still have some kind of illumination on your exit.
Yes, because the earthquake yesterday caught us off guard. But we weren't really prepared for that. Explain to us, ano ba yung emergency bag na kailangan natin?
This should be at mostly...
Ang bigat naman ng bag mo, sir.
But you can modify it depending on who will be using it. But the primary concern of the Lifeline kit is for a family to be able to survive maybe at least 3 days until such assistance will come in. And the first thing that you have to secure is your own personal survival, like first aid kit, candle, flashlight, and have also some kind of, this one is quite easy to acquire. Make sure that your vital document is also in place on a kind of plastic envelope. And
So basically, sir, yeah, so with all of this, we have to travel with this at all times because we
Yes.
really don't know. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
a lot of people were at work or, doing other things.
if that thing, if that situation is quite worse, definitely all the people will be on panic mode. Nobody will be able to realize where is their identified evacuation site.
Yes. So
And
we
most
should
of the people will look for their family. That is really...
we do have identified evacuation sites, but it is
Yes,
separated
supposed to
in
be.
4
Yeah,
quadrants
quadrant,
here.
correct.
So, so could you just briefly inform us of where we should go for
Like for
Metro
example,
Manila?
in this area
Yeah.
where we are in Mandaluyong and also in adjacent in San Juan, we could easily go to Wakwak Golf because that's an open
Any open
field.
space,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was already been agreed that that is one of the evacuation site. We could also, from this point, you could also go directly across to Rizal, to that stadium, that we could also have some kind of sheltering, temporary shelter in that area.
And this is something also that we also remind our children if ever
Yes.
we are separated from our children, when a
Correct.
calamity happens, we know where to find each other,
You know, there is one thing that I would like to remind or to teach everyone. This is the thing that we learned also from my boss, Senator Richard Gordon. We have the 4 P's. First is predict. You have to predict all the hazards that you may encounter in the future. Second, you have to plan for this. And third, you have to prepare. And the last, you have to practice it.
Okay, I like what you had in your bag, sir, before I let you close it, because we did
yeah.
have the cash, identification,
Yeah.
and then in
Just
the
to
other
show
side,
you.
you do have blankets.
Yes, blanket, plates, food,
Food, okay.
supply. These are canned goods.
All right. We have canned goods and medicines and
Water.
water.
Most important
Water
is the
also-
water is on the side pocket. So you have toiletries and sanitary napkin, especially if there's some kind of a need for our female evacuee, glasses, spoon,
All right.
and plate. And
Okay.
even the hygiene kit.
Hygiene kit, which
Yeah,
is also
toothbrush, everything.
All right.
Soap.
Well, thank you so much, sir. This is also good for how many days? This
Maybe
whole bag of
3
yours.
to 4 days.
3 to 4 days.
And I guess within that period of time, if we are in Metro Manila, you could there is a possibility of survival, and there will be somebody who will rescue you or assist you.
Okay, so quickly, the do's or don'ts. If you do encounter, an earthquake,
Shaking.
once again, do stay where you're at.
Be calm.
Be calm.
Don't panic. Don't rush immediately and go out. Wait until the shaking stop. Then that's the time that you have to go out.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being with us, sir. And I know your job is not done, and a lot of people are still helping recover missing bodies and buildings that have fallen. Well, thank you so much for being with us. That was a Philippine Red Cross Disaster Management Service Director, Leo Ebajo, with us here on New Day.